Come on up. You're on, Mike. Your name, sobriety, date,
I can't get
rock
the.
and roll.
All right, I couldn't get the got it off. I'm powerless over alcohol. My name is Mike D, and it's an honor and a privilege to be amongst my fellows and some friends. I'm still honored to be asked to do anything in the rooms of recovery. My sobriety date is March 9th, 1987. One of my spiritual angels and guides told me I need to let you know that, because even though you might have been around for a while, we have doubting Thomases in the room. They do not believe that their life can be totally recreated on a level unbeknownst to them. So I need to let you know that there's some of us that we've been here for a minute, even though we just have today. We've been around for a minute. This has become a way of life, just like my previous life was a way of life. And I pulled into it 100%, no chaser, no hose barred. I went for it. I'm one of those guys that I would go to the cliff and stick my foot over and wiggle back and forth just to see if I could keep my balance, a daredevil. When I was young, growing up in Harlem, New York, we have tenements. And as a young boy, we'd go up to the roof and jump the gaps between tenements. Insanity. I qualify to be here. I qualify on a number of levels. And what happened when I came to see you guys around about 1988, I was introduced to a life-transforming process that hasn't stopped yet. So if anybody's here tonight and you're new, I welcome you. Anybody that's here tonight and you're in between, I welcome you. And then anybody that's here tonight and you're in the club, meaning you have diagnosed yourself with a threefold disease. You know that only a God is going to save you, a power greater than yourself, and you've made a decision to do anything and everything that you need to do to stay on the path of seeking. Because it just don't stop with your with your drinking. It just don't stop there. I believe that's the hook he used to get us here. And when I say he, I'm not talking about Bill and Bob. I'm talking about a power greater than myself that worked through Bill and Bob to tap into some of our souls that needed a life-changing experience. That's what's happened for me. I am so grateful. They tell me I got 45 minutes. I got a watch here somewhere. Pretty sure somebody will give me a high sign. Teresa, you just grinning on that picture? That's you just that. Anyway, it's good to see you guys. Got some friends up there in Toronto. Been up there a couple of times, and God has truly blessed me. Had no idea when I started this journey what it was about or what it would be about. I thought maybe I would get free from mind-altering substances. Maybe if I was able to do that, my life could be recreated. I could live differently. I don't know if you're like me. I don't know which one of the alcoholics in our textbook you are, but what I do know is that there's a man and a woman in this meeting that there is no middle of the road solution for you. and that every ounce of what's talked about in our textbook, which is a teaching tool, needs to be applied to an individual's life that says, I'm the real one. I'm the real one. A spiritual way of life and a personal relationship, love affair with a power higher than you that can show you how to use your power effectively is of absolute utmost importance. I got to learn how to breathe, ladies and gentlemen. I got to learn how to breathe. So what it's done for me, these 12 steps, this book, this program, it's taken me on a path back to what was given me the first 10 years of my life. A God of my own understanding and a spiritual way of living life. So that passage on page 87, be quick to see where religious people are right, make use of what they offer. That's one of my favorite passages in the big book because it sent me back to that little church on 112th Street between 7th and Lenox Avenue in Harlem, New York, that I grew up in, where I was anointed and dedicated to do a work. And they seated me, them old folk. They seated me, they poured wisdom into me, but being who I was at that phase of my life, I wasn't in a place to accept it, but it was too late. They did their job. They were only there to do what we do in the rooms of recovery, carry the message. And the message is very simple, God is. And everybody that's on this meeting tonight, I didn't come to talk to you, because some of y'all don't have to do this stuff to the depths that some of us do it. But then there's somebody on this meeting tonight that you haven't tapped into the fact of, yes, I need to go deeper. And you need to go deeper because you're probably restless, irritable, discontent, all the cliches we throw around so regularly and don't really pay attention to. That's going on in your life, and you didn't just show up to us. You've been around us for a while. And the unmanageability of your life is kicking your kazoo. And the answer that's needed, and what was needed for me, go deeper, Mike. It's time to peel another layer, Mike. This God thing they're talking about, seek, be a seeker, be a finder of power. And as a result of that, I have a very explosive life with God. It was intentional what happened those first 10 years of my life. God masterfully planned that to give me what I needed. So when I got to the junction of my mind overpowering my activities to live a healthy, loving, caring life, he could begin to work on me. And he could begin to recreate me from the state I made a decision of being recreated into. I am so grateful. I am so loving of the 12-step process and these 12 steps. I am in awe of how exactly what I needed, he put in front of me. Now, you got to travel with me because a lot of times he put it in front of me and I didn't pay attention. And I began to continue to run on self and what I thought I knew. But today I know all that was absolutely necessary. I had to have an experience to be able to mold a foundation to show up in Toronto, Canada this evening to talk to somebody. Came to talk to somebody because you're teeter-tottering on the fringes of what we do. This is a God program and a program of spirituality. Sorry, I didn't say it. Big Book says it. And if you're in the real club, if you're in the club, meaning you're a mad dog. I don't know if any of my workshop people are on there. I got a workshop in the UK called the Mad Dog 12-Step Process. Told them about y'all, and it's kind of late over there, but I bet one or two of them stayed up to hang out with y'all tonight. If you're a mad dog, you need an awesome power to recreate your life for you and through you, by you. I found that once I availed myself to the 12-step process, and I did that a number of times, 10th step jumped out at me and said, "You've entered the world of the spirit." And spirit said, "So what do you know about living in my world, Mike? You know how to do concrete and pavement. You know how to do skyscrapers and tenements. What do you know about my world? What do you know about the realm of the spirit where God resides? What do you know about the fourth dimension?" And in my ignorance, I said nothing, and spirit said, "No, you do. It's time for you to go back home." Meaning back to the roots that have been planted in me in those young years. And I went back to those religious people. A lot of us find fault with religious people because so many of them are hypocritical. On Sunday, they're all spiritual and godly and praising God and this and that and hemming and hawing. But as soon as they leave church, they're devils in disguise. But I've come to find out that not all of them are like that. That the basis of what they do is what we do. They serve a true and living God. They believe in a spiritual way of life. They know that they need a partnership and a coupleship with a power greater than themselves if they're to breathe on a daily basis. There ain't no wiggle room in that. There is no wiggle room. It's not by coincidence that in the 11th step, in the 12 and 12, they brought a religious guy in and say, he's not one of y'all, but he got some valuable information. I want to read it for you. On page 99 in the 12 and 12, step 11, it says, well, we might start with this. First, let's look at a really good prayer. We won't have far to seek. The great men and women of all religions have left us with a wonderful supply. Here, let us consider one that is a classic. Its author was a man who for several hundred years now has been rated as a saint. This is in our literature, y'all, approved literature. We won't be biased or scared off by that fact because although he was not an alcoholic, he did, like us, go through the emotional ringer. And as he came out the other side of that painful experience, this prayer was his expression of what he could then see, feel, and wish to become. Be quick to see what religious people are about. St. Francis of Assisi, Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, that where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness, that where there is discord, I may bring harmony, that where there is error, I may bring truth. But where there is doubt, I may bring faith. That where there is despair, I may bring hope. That where there are shadows, I may bring light. That I may seek rather than to comfort, than to be comforted, to understand, than to be understood, to love, than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting, it is by self-forgetting that one finds. It is by forgiving that one is forgiven. It is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. Amen. In that prayer, in those words, there is meaty, juicy stuff to work with on the path of the recreation of your life. It's an exercise with people that I work with. We work with that prayer. Spiritual exercise. I not only do it with what's mentioned in the big book and in the 12 and 12, I do it in my other practice. I'm also a minister, a licensed ordained minister. And I work out of the Bible. I went back to those religious people and I started asking questions about spirit world living. I started seeking a deeper and more effective relationship with the power greater than myself, not on my terms, but on his terms. And guess what? He showed up. He showed me that no matter what, Mike, I'll stand with you. I'll be with you. The wiles of your life that separate me from you, I'll remove them for you, Mike. Let me do the work. That's why in step 6 and 7, I don't work on me. I take them to God, my defects, shortcomings, aspects of character that are dysfunctional. I take that stuff to God. And what happens? I get a revelation as to the newness of living life. I get intuitive thought. I get insight. I get moments of clarity. I get the power to do the next right thing. Relying and depending on a power greater than myself as a result of being introduced to that very young in my life. I used to watch my mother. She was an evangelist. First thing she did in the morning when she got up was she got out of bed, she went and washed her face, brushed her teeth. The next thing that she did was she knelt down by the side of the bed and said a prayer. When she got up from there, she sat on the bed, grabbed her Bible, and began reading. She always kept a candle lit in her room for the power being the light of the world. Be quick to see what religious people are about. Didn't understand it then, I understand it now. Sometimes I need to be brought back to remembrance of who I am. I need to be in recognition of I'm not God. And let that power do its work in my life. What's happened for me since I came to see you guys is astronomical. I could have never thought that in that last treatment program in 1987. Never thought that. Never thought, didn't think I'd still be here. Didn't think I had the power not to do what I was doing, not to live the way I was living. But I became willing to tap in. I became willing to let the steps work me, not me work the steps. For somebody in this meeting, it's time for you to move to another level. You need to see what religious people are about. I sent them out, people that I sponsor. Go talk to a priest. Go talk to a minister. Ask God to guide you and direct you to a religious person and see what they're talking about. See if they're not doing what we do. They're doing exactly what we do. We do exactly what they do. We just do it on another level and call it by different names. So it's not by accident. Some people want to say, oh, AA and other fellowships are not about religion. It was based on religion. The Oxford groups, the other groups that sprung out down through the years. We stay out of religious affiliation because it causes too much controversy because of the different faiths. But when you look down to it and you're really involved, your faith is only aimed at one conclusion and one solution. You might just call him by another name. It's about growth and evolution. It's about being willing to let that power that you made a decision in step 2, in step 3, to take your life and your will, letting that power work you, recreate you, send you out, wake you up, shake you up, stand you up, and send you out. That's what my first sponsor used to say. That was one of his cliches. I dare you to try what those of us in the nucleus of the rooms of recovery do. You know we got 2 fellowships. You already know that. I don't have to tell you. Which one are you in? Have you made a decision that you're here for the long haul? I'm here for the long haul. I'm here to do what you will with me. How can you use me now? Every time I go through a piece of work, it is something that surfaces because I don't believe he puts more on you than you can bear. You make that determination. But recovery is levels of recovering. And he gets out of you what's needed to get out of you to pull just a little bit closer to him or her or whatever your God is. Because he wants to work with you. He wants to use you as an instrument. He wants to use you as a vessel so he can flow power through you and out of you to others in an effort to bring light to the world. That's all it's about. And it's interesting, he took the scourges of the earth to do that. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. Like I said, this message is not for everybody. Some of y'all don't ever have to go to a church or a mosque or a temple, join a church, talk to religious people. You can get a couple commitments and hang around the rooms and socialize and get a list of phone numbers and just hang out and you'll be cool. Didn't work for me. Didn't work for me. The necessary power wasn't there. As a cliche in our book says, I was beyond human aid. You guys can't fix me. You can talk to me. You can share your experience with me. You can bring some enlightenment to my life, but you can't fix me. I need to be confident in the solution and the power that's the center of my life today. I need to know that God is, and He can and will, if I just continue to be a seeker. That's all them old folk told me back in that little church. Make Him your partner. Be in a coupleship with Him. One of my sponsors say, you can fall in love with every nappy head, no tooth having somebody. Fall in love with God. Have a love affair with God. Thank GW for that. I've been so blessed. I've been so blessed. I could put it in words, but words that I could use do not suffice. And then the teachers that He put in front of me. See, he knew I was a knucklehead. He knew my nemesis was powerful. So the people that I sat in front of and was willing to abandon myself to, He knew they had to be powerful also, or else I wasn't going to listen. So He placed me strategically in front of those that had a message that had depth and weight. And it altered my life. It changed my life. The first blessing and the first miracle was that the obsession and the allergy were put to bed. Didn't know it. I had to go on an amends trip, my first amends trip back in 1988 or beginning of 89, back to Harlem. All types of amends, and I came back and I met with my sponsor and I said, I went around the block and I saw the fellas and they offered me all kind of stuff, and I told them I don't do that no more. I don't want none of that. And they looked at me like I was an alien from another planet. And I was kind of giggling. And he looked at me with a straight face in my eye. And he said, I bet you think you had something to do with that. And the light bulb came on. That the miracle of not drinking and not using had come into fruition in my life, that I could say no and mean it and not do it. What a blessing. That's when I became convinced that I could live life differently. That's when I became convinced. Third step says, I'm thoroughly convinced that God is, because I had horrific amends. I don't know if you know something about that little country called Harlem, New York. It's a hell of a place, man, to grow up in. And to come through that and make it out of that, a miracle. And the amends I had in that first set of amends, life-changing experiences, which I don't have time to go into right now, but I just want to leave with somebody tonight that it works. And I'm not just talking about the program, I'm talking about the nucleus of what we do. The program is only an outside fashioning. What we do on a different level is live life as directed by spirit. We get a coupleship and a partnership with a God of our own understanding that continues to lead us out of the dark, because life don't cease because we come to the rooms. It don't stop. My buddy don't stop looking for me because I've been around for as long as I have, or all the stuff I've done since I've been here. He don't care. I believe he wants me even more. What a trophy. What a trophy to hook that Mike D guy up. They'll be talking about me from here to Switzerland and Africa. I'm not going though. I'm not bowing down because I know there's power. I know there's recreation of life. I know. I don't. One of my other teachers talked about a willingness to believe, growing into a belief, growing into believing, and then growing into a knowingness about God. I know if I can just be still long enough. You see, that's my problem. In that little church that used to say, just wait on him, wait on him. He'll show up, may not come when you want him, but he'll show up. Just wait on him. All those teachings that were given to me begin to trickle back and come back and take my life and my recovery to another level. Because for the real guy, in my closing, the real one, this is about God and the spiritual way of living life. I think it's on page 83. It says the spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. That's for somebody out there who's struggling tonight. You struggling still. You're propped up in ego, in titles, property, prestige. You're struggling. Your internal condition is suffering because it's time to move to another level. Coming out of another piece of work, umpteenth piece of work. Completion tomorrow, step 12. Another set of amends. Awesome deal that we have here. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Take the directions that they give us in the big book. It's not a book of suggestions for me, just to put that out there. I know they say it's to be suggested. It ain't about suggestions. For me, it's about directions. Be quick to see what religious people are about. Make use of what they offer. Watch your life. I dare you. Growing up on 112th Street between 8th and 7th Avenue, we had a saying of, I double dare you. I double dare you. I triple dare you. I double dare you. Go a little bit deeper. Get out of self. Follow the mandates in the process of recovery outlined in the big book. Seek out other religious people. Also seek out other books and other deals. Watch your life. Don't be content with where you are in this moment. No, God is infinite, unending. There's a world out there that's just waiting for you. But far beyond that, there are people out there that's waiting to hear your story. That power is going to allow you to touch them and work through you to give them what they need to recreate their lives. And they'll be making use of what you have. Astronomical. Astronomical what happens in this program. I want to thank my buddy, my sis, and my man Ali for asking me to come out and bring a message. I don't know if it was about depth and weight. I just know it was a message. I pray and I speak. That's it. And I let God have its way with me. And so far, it's worked out. I ain't going back. I am not turning back, man. I got free from that nemesis, which I thought was Harlem, New York. Came to you guys and found out it wasn't Harlem, New York. It was sitting between my two shoulders the whole time. But I was able to find a way out. Hopefully something was said. Hopefully spirit showed up and touched somebody to know that wherever you're at, you don't have to stay in that place. You can be recreated from that place that you're in now. It's astronomical. It's infinite. It's unending. Thank you guys for being here tonight for my recovery. God bless you and God keep you. Thank you.